Nightly greetings, one and all. William Theo here, homegrown and happy to bring you stories of the day here at home and abroad that have unfolded in the last 24-hour news cycle. And tonight we kick off with good news for Mindanao Occidental. Pork is the nation's hands-down meat of choice, whether white or red. But its price has steadily been on the upswing because of erratic production or unreliable supply caused in large part by the bane of all hog raisers in the country, ASF or African swine fever. The swine plague has ravaged the nation's hog population in the hundreds of thousands since 2019. Today, the president brought glad tidings and good news with him in his visit to San Jose Occidental, Mindoro earlier today. Besides the packages of relief, agricultural tools, and financial assistance he brought for distribution to farmers hit hard by a still raging El Nino, he spoke on a dam project to be built in the area and the rollout in June or July of the much-anticipated and potent ASF vaccine. The ASF vaccine, developed in Vietnam, received a 2-thumbs-up recommendation from the Department of Agriculture, Bureau of Animal Husbandry last year for a certificate of product registration with the local FDA after positive results from a successful vaccine trial in Luzon from March to May of last year. Meanwhile, maize or corn is a Malawi staple food, much like what rice is to Filipinos. A local charity, Never Ending Food, is teaching farmers there 200 types of food crops they could grow and ultimately subsist on. VOA's Lamek Masina reports from Lilongwe.
Malawians have long relied on nsima as their main food. The hearty porridge made from maize flour is eaten with meat, fish and vegetables. This food is also eaten in other African countries in the region. But in Malawi, the saying goes, if you haven't eaten nsima, then you haven't eaten, no matter what other crops farmers grow. The local charity Never Ending Food in Malawi's capital, Lilongwe, is working to change that. Manager Hadiwell Kanie says through permaculture, farmers learn about over 200 types of crops they can grow and eat, including cassava, potatoes, millet, sorghum, and yams.
The reason being not just for them to have a variety of foods on their table, but also to give them better nutrition. And when the farmers plant together different types of foods, it will remain nutritious.
Up to 40% of the population in Malawi is currently facing food shortages, largely because of El Nino-induced dry spell, which has damaged more than 2/5 of national crop areas, largely maize. The situation forced President Lazarus Chakwera to declare a state of disaster and appeal for international help. But Ethel Katumba, a single...
In situations like this, I used to beg for food from my employers or other people to survive. But now that I've learned to grow various types of crops, I don't face food shortages anymore.
The charity trains farmers and government agriculture extension workers, field officers from agriculture non-profits, and university students.
I choose to use this permaculture knowledge to improve the ecosystem here in Malawi and to improve the climate so that the future generation can have amazing environment, that people can have plenty of food.
Advocates say permaculture can potentially address the food shortages Malawi has long faced. Daniel Chinkunta is a government extension worker who received never-ending foods training.
Especially when we look into the rise in prices of fertilizers, and then the rise in prices of hybrid maize. Farmers are now taking it to their own to start engaging fully in permaculture practices. So I should say this has been positive.
As farmers like Ethel Katumba learn the importance of food diversification, experts hope the hunger situation in Malawi will soon be history. Lamek Masina, VOA News, Lilongwe.
America's top diplomat is headed back to Beijing to sit down with his Chinese counterparts and take on the top issues of the day, such as Israel's war in Gaza, Russia versus Ukraine, tensions in the South China Sea, trade and human rights, among others. But this time, there are no expectations or promises to bank on, as we hear from VOA State Department Bureau Chief Nike Ching.
From Asia to the Middle East, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken on Monday unveiled the State Department's annual country report on human rights practices, a day before he travels to China for talks, where he will raise rights issues.
Rohingya in Burma, Uyghurs in Xinjiang, each victims of genocide and crimes against humanity. The United States will continue to raise our deep concerns directly with the governments responsible.
Blinken has also spoken out on China's support for Russia in its war with Ukraine. The United States, together with other nations in the Group of Seven, has urged China to stop transferring dual-use materials and weapons components that Russia is using to advance its military production. The U.S. said it is prepared to take further steps as necessary, but Beijing has dismissed Washington's concerns.
In principle, the normal cooperation between China and Russia in various fields should not be disrupted or restricted.
Former U.S. military officials say more sanctions are needed.
Absolutely, the Russian war effort is supported and undergirded by the support from China, Iran, and North Korea. The United States' ability to hold China accountable for this is through sanctions.
Washington is enlisting European allies for similar measures, according to analysts.
In contrast to the United States, the European Union has not really sanctioned in Chinese individuals or companies to the same degree as the United States. And so there may be an attempt, with the G7 meeting to try to get more support from Europeans to take those kinds of actions.
Other pressing issues on Blinken's agenda include counter-narcotics, establishing talks on artificial intelligence, and boosting military-to-military communication amid tensions over the South China Sea. But U.S. officials and analysts do not anticipate major breakthroughs to emerge from the Secretary's meetings this week in China. Nike Chin, VOA News, Washington.
At this moment, let's turn to my colleague in PTV's Pine City studios for the latest developments in the Cordilleras. Ala?
Naimbag Arabi, Pilipinas. Kagidan ti Earth Day, iti kalman. Indawluan ti Environment Management Bureau Cordillera ti plugging iti aglawlaw ti Burnham Park. Kan sumagmumano kalsada iti Baguio City. Iti lasudlang iti may nga oras, 63 kilos ti recyclables ti nakolekta ken nailako iti junk shop ken 75 kilos a residual waste ti naurnong. Sigod kini EMB Car Regional Director Jean Borromeo, kaya't nga may pakita iti aktibidad ti kinapatag ti umno a paringibelang ken paringimaton iti basura. Naisangkat mo ti plastic waste exchange, nasukatan iti cash, dagiti recyclable kas iti boxes, plastic bottles, glasses, ken lata, bayat ang nasukatan iti biscuit, kape ken instant noodles, dagiti plastic flexibles wenno single-use plastics, nga impan dagiti residente. Nailaylayon ti plastic waste exchange aging gainton Biyernes, April 26, ngem iti opisina ti EMB Car ijay Barangay Gibraltar.
No, yung mga namamasyal, they just leave their trash. Kung saan sila tumigil, uminom. Yung mga napulot ko kanina, actually sinusungkit ko pa dun sa mga halaman. Nandoon yung mga bote ng mga soft drinks, mga candy wrappers, no? Sinisiksik pa nila doon. And just a few steps away, nandun na yung basurahan. I don't know what's with these people.
Iti dadumapay adamag madadal iti lokal konseho ti Baguio ti ordinansa mang institutionalize iti tinawan a selebrasyon ti Health Workers Day iti syudad ti Baguio tunggal May 7. May tunos dayto itilintag anang bukal iti selebrasyon ti National Health Workers Day, anang bigbig iti kontribusyon karbangan ken pagsayaatan dagiti amin a health worker. May isa dayto yung oportunidad para kadagiti health professionals magkipasat iti citywide events. Iti ordinansa, madan iti ecumenical prayer para iti health workers, education and information drive, wellness services, health summit kanda dumabay. May singsingasing pay, ti panakipatumpal ti fun run kanda mga advocacy programs. Ti Baguio City Health Services Office, ti nadutukan amang isagana kadagiti aktibidad.
Two objectives. One is for the benefit of the health workers. So they will have symposia, lectures on the rights, responsibilities, and benefits of health workers. And then the other objective is to make the community aware of the presence and the services which are to be offered by the health workers.
Dagiti damdamag, manipo dito'y PTV Cordillera, siyak ni Ala Sunduan, na imbag, arabii.
Thank you, Ala, and that's all for our show tonight. Join us anew tomorrow, same time, same location on your remote or browser. And keep in mind to always aim high, work hard, give thanks, and stay connected while you catch the news right here. William Theo looking at you and wishing you all a restful night ahead.